Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Candid Campbell. I'm your host Olivia Hoff, and we are joined once again by Dean Campbell himself. So how are you? How was your spring break?
It was good. I was here working till Friday of spring break. We got that day off, but one of the things we accomplished was raise some money for Mill Hill Child and Family Development Center, which was a lot of fun on Saturday.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice. It sounds like a fun spring break.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Preparing for you.
Oh, of course. Well, jumping right into the first topic, Rider Safe Rides is actually a program where it promises safety for students. It will come pick up the students and bring them back to campus free of charge. And the company that actually supplies that program has been giving it a little bit of criticism because they say although most students are courteous, there are a few that cause a little bit of trouble. So what exactly is happening with that situation?
Well, the drivers take IDs from all the students as they come in. So what we've done was ask the drivers if they have any difficulty with the student, just give us their name, and we'll spend time talking with them because students are responsible for our code of conduct on or off campus. And frankly, we don't want a few students to ruin a good program for everybody because the object is to keep everyone safe.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, that's great. So I hope they're going to continue with it. Nothing's going to change?
Nothing's on the horizon to change.
Okay, good, because that's a good program there.
It is. It's a very good program.
That's very good. Okay, well, nowadays, everyone's been going green. So Rider is not an exception. We have a few good things going on. We have a new recycling program. The buildings in West Village are actually considered green buildings.
Right.
So one of the new things that Rider is beginning to think about is taking all of the food waste and turning it into organic fertilizer. So can you tell us a little more about this?
Well, that's just working with Airmark, our food service vendor. It's a good thing. We use a lot of fertilizer on the campus for the flower beds and everything. So this would be a very good way to recycle some of the food waste that we have. But Rider's done an awful lot to really reduce its green footprint. What we're trying to do is if you look at the public safety vehicles, many of those SUVs are hybrids.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We have, you mentioned the LEED certified buildings in West Village. You mentioned the fact that, we're doing a lot to save energy. We work with a company that controls, that helps us reduce the amount of energy we use in each of our buildings. This year, for the first time, we've put monitors on each of the residence hall buildings to see how much electricity they're using. Once we get a baseline, then we can work with the residents to see if we can reduce the amount of electricity used. So lots of things are happening that are real positive.
Wow. Well, I'm proud to say the Rider carbon footprint is looking pretty much under control right now.
Well, we're trying. It's our responsibility.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. So recently, freshmen and seniors have been sent a survey through email by the 2010 National Survey of Student Engagement to figure out how they can make life a little bit better for students on campus.
Right.
So is there any, can you tell us a little bit more about?
Well, we certainly don't have the results yet from them because students are still filling them out. But the NESI, as it's referred to, really helps us look at what we're doing and how students are really engaged in learning. From past NESIs, we were able to find that we needed to improve some academic advising. We needed to add more experiential learning courses. We needed to add more internships. So it was a really way to gauge our students' educational experience against many others across the country. It's a national program. It also tells us a little bit about what the students' needs are, how students are changing. If I worked and taught students the same way I did when I started 30 years ago, it would be, people would think I'm just old and archaic, which they might think already, but students wouldn't have the same knowledge, they wouldn't have the same learning to do. So we need to understand what student needs are and how we're working with students to engage them in their educational.
Okay, well that's a very good idea. So students, if you see, freshmen and seniors, if you see this survey in your email, make sure you take it because it's essentially to benefit us. Okay, well, there's a lot of talk going on in the news today about Governor Chris Christie, who proposed plans to try to better the economy while the state is in this deficit. So he decided to make a few cuts, and one of them deals with education. So how does these changes in Trenton affect Rider?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Governor Christie's proposals are not final. Okay, they are just proposals. They do have to go through the Assembly and the Senate, And I imagine since he's a Republican governor and the Assembly and the Senate are democratically controlled, there'll be some hooting and hollering, say, before it's all over it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But Governor Christie's proposals, included, we would lose a subsidy for private education, which is approximately $2 million to Rider University, just right off the top. But the one that concerns us more than anything else are the changes that Governor Christie has proposed to the TAG program, the Tuition Assistance Grant. Now understand that his proposals are for freshmen only. The rest of the sophomores, juniors, and seniors for next year will be grandfathered in. Okay, so the cuts were just for freshmen. And we really don't know what the impact is. At the worst case scenario, Rider students right now, the maximum TAG grant is about $11,300, I'm sorry. If they go down to the level of state colleges, based on tuition and things, that would take it down to $6,850. So that's a significant for those who get the maximum number. Where the Rutgers level, for example, there's another level for Rutgers, which is about $9,200. I imagine with negotiations we'll probably be somewhere less than we are now, but not as low as the state. But that's still for the Assembly to take a look at. And also they cut was an 8.7% in EOP funding for the neediest students. All of these are for students that really need the funding. And really it comes down to access for education. We have many senators, Senator Cody, Senator Turner, that are on the side of education, and they'll be talking and proposing to reduce the cuts that were made by Governor Christie. So we'll see how it works out in the end. In the moment, we're doing everything we can so that students won't get hurt. If you know our track record in the past when cuts were made, we were able to reduce the impact to students by having all of the division heads look at our budgets, our operating budgets, see if we can reduce some of the spending we're doing. We can find any savings that we can have in so that we can put that money back towards student financial aid. Those are the things we're doing. I also notice in today's newspaper there's some other rallies, and there are going to be some Senate hearings that we'll want to attend. So there's a long way to go before we get there. Students shouldn't be too overly concerned because the fight's not over, but it will have an impact on many of our students.
Okay, well, it's very interesting to see how that'll turn out.
Yeah, 40% of our students receive TAG funds.
Wow.
So it's a large chunk of our population.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see how all that ends up. Now, also recently, the Lawrenceville Township was talking about taxing the Rider students, and President Rosansky, thank you, went out and talked to them, and luckily they tabled the issue. It may be brought up again, but as of right now, it's kind of put to the side. So what exactly is going on there?
Well, the League of Municipalities had a meeting, and those are all of the mayors and the county executives and town executives. They had a meeting, and face it, they're looking for funding as well.
Yeah.
So they're saying, we have these universities in our area. They use our essential services, so perhaps we ought to tax them. And the proposal that was put on the table for Lawrenceville was that every student at Rider, if you were a residential student, you'd be taxed $100. If you were a commuter student, you'd be or a part-time student. Full-time students would be $100. Part-time students would be $50. So if you were a full-time student, you'd have an extra $100 on your bill. And we didn't think that was fair.
Yeah.
Because right now you have students struggling to pay the bills. You have students wanting to, reducing, trying to do everything they can, working extra jobs to raise money to be able to pay their tuition. So what President Rosansky did was try to talk to the township about the impact Rider has on the jobs it generates, the taxes it generates for the township, the services our students provide, almost 30,000 hours in community service in the Lawrenceville area of donated services. The amount of food that our students buy from the local restaurants and deliveries, and the impact we have. When you put that all together, we said, perhaps there's another way to take a look at this. And so they did table it. They are in discussions with the university and with the Lawrenceville School about possible other avenues. And hopefully we can get that worked out without a tax for the students.
Oh, good. I sure hope so. Thank you, President Rosansky. Okay, so moving on to Westminster campus, there was a plan to add in a parking lot for the students. And it was actually approved, but the Princeton residents surrounding the area are a little bit upset about that. So what's going on there? What are their issues that they actually have with the parking lot?
There's a lot of issues that they brought up. They worried about noise. They worried about having a parking lot in their backyard, essentially.
Yeah.
They worried about lights coming into their house from the cars.
Oh, okay.
They worried about drainage issues and environmental issues. When the issues are brought up, I think that our parking lot architects and everything have done a lot to address those issues by planting trees and putting screens and adding to the space between the parking lot and the fencing lines. We think we've addressed many of them. I know that the neighbors are not totally happy, but compromises, I think, have to be made in order to do that. We have many students there that drive, and obviously if you've been to that campus, where's a need for parking?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Majorly. Well, I hope so. Now, if they have those issues, they're not trying to appeal the process or anything,
Well,
are they?
they have a time frame to appeal.
Okay.
They're still within that time frame, so I'm not sure if they're going to or not.
Okay. Well, I hope they really need that parking lot,
They
so
do.
I hope this
They
works
do.
out. Also, Westminster recently had a CD that was produced that was critically acclaimed and is on the Critics' Choice list of 2010.
Classic music, yeah.
So, so what does the university have to say about that?
Well, it's wonderful for our students. Our students are very, very talented, and our faculty gets the most out of them. So when you look at what's in, that's just like our basketball team and going into a tournament or baseball. This brings good publicity to the university. It showcases the talents of our students. Sort of like the media, all the awards that the broadcasting has won recently.
Exactly.
It brings to light how really good our students are and the talents that we have, and it really is a bragging point for our students. And like proud parents would do, we like to show off our students. We like for our students to do well.
Yeah. Well, speaking actually of the University Network's awards, recently the Run Network, that actually produces this very show, spent a week in Dallas, Texas, for the National Broadcasting Society ceremony, and came back with a few national awards themselves. So how does talent at the university, does that help with advertising at all? Does that help prospective students?
I think when prospective students are looking at programs, they want to look at what are the achievements. How do I distinguish a communications program at Rider from XYZ University? And when they look at the success of our students, and this is not just a one-time success. We've won several years in a row. We've won national awards. They can see that our students are excelling compared to other schools and large schools like the University of Miami and University of Southern California. So we're competing on a national level. And when you look at what our students are doing in the job market, they're doing real well. And this helps the students too, because these awards go on your vita, go on your portfolio.
Exactly.
And so when you're looking for jobs, you can say, I won a national award, or I did this, and that certainly puts you ahead of the class.
Definitely.
When you're working from there. So it's great for the university. It's wonderful for the students that are involved. And, it really does show the kind of education. It's not just in the classroom theoretical, talking theoretically. It's the hands-on, showing that you can translate what you learn in the classroom to actual performance on the stage. And, what better proof is it than that?
Exactly. I know I'll be very well prepared when I go out into the work field and I have experience. So I thank you, Ryder, for that. Recently, students have been getting emails also about asking them to submit teachers for the Distinguished Teaching Award. So can you tell us a little bit about that award?
Sure. Rider is a teaching university, and we pride ourselves on the fact that we teach and that we spend time with PhD professors in the classroom, and we value the teaching experience. The same as, just as it's important for us in the NESI to get the information, it's important for us to recognize good teaching. And try to encourage the faculty members to continue to improve and recognize the people who really do an outstanding job in the classroom. And students, will each year nominate two faculty members for Distinguished Teaching Award. In the past winners were some Alsa Mucka from accounting, or Robbie Sethi from English, Betsy Haywood Sullivan from business and economics, James Riggs from biology, Sharon McCool from education, Jack Sullivan from American studies. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But those are outstanding teachers, and our students know when they're engaged. Our students know when they're being captured by faculty members, and this is important. And I think it's always important to recognize good teaching.
So now, how does this affect the teaching community? Is there any kind of competition going on? Anyone?
Well, I hope that the teachers are doing it for their students and for their profession. And I think that's what, I don't think faculty members openly compete for this award. I think they do their job on a regular basis. They understand that what they do, they came to Rider to teach. So they try to work, and many of them work hard to keep up with the latest technologies to improve. So I think this really is a recognition of a job well done.
Great. Okay. Well, I know there's a few teachers myself that I really enjoy that I might nominate later.
I hope so. I hope so.
So that's unfortunately all the time that we have for this week, but we want to thank you, Dean Campbell, for coming and joining us again.
Well, it's nice to be here, and I hope you had a great time on your spring break.
Oh, I did. Worked a lot. So, so thank you guys again for tuning in, and make sure you tune in next week for a new episode of Candid Campbell.